Jitesh, you there? Quickly putting a random Q&A. Whomsoever I'm calling, respond. Jitesh, what is data? According to your definition, your understanding. Information that will be stored. I'm asking the explanation for data. Not only data, any term I want a proper definition. It cannot be an accurate definition from the official website, your own definition, but it should be a definition. I'm not conducting any one word answer quiz. No. Jitesh, complete your sentence. What is data? I'm okay with your points. But frame a sentence and deliver it. Try again. Data is Harsh, you want to give a try?
Yes, ma'am. The data is meaningful information. It is of three kinds, maybe structured, unstructured, or semi-structured.
All right. So data is a collectible information, meaningful information that can be recorded, that can be stored, retrieved, processed for day-to-day business, for day-to-day applications. Akash, you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Akash?
Yes, ma'am.
What is database? Turn on your videos. Guys, I want everyone to turn on your videos. Akash, you want to give a try? Yes or no? What was your question?
What is database?
What is database?
All data keep or store, manage. Bunch of data.
I'm searching for you, Akash. Where are you? Adesh, give a try. Adesh.
Database is a collection of data.
Oh, correct. And then?
And
Database is a logically related data will be collected
and stored at one place.
and stored in a place is called as database. Database is not something virtual, it's a real-time existence. Kashinath, what is entity model? Entity relationship model. You are on mute.
Yes, ma'am. Entity model is the first object, object related. What that? Object based data model. Ma'am.
Praveen, you want to give a try? Can you explain about entity relationship model?
Ma'am, I am absent in yesterday's demo.
Very good. Okay, very good. Kudus.
It is a model which is used to display the entities of the table and the relationship between the tables.
The entity relationship is an object type model which is used to collect all your entity. Again, the question comes, what is entity? The entity might be, continue with this.
Entity might be something which is exist in
A
real.
place, a person or object for which I can able to record the data. Vivek Kumar, you want to add any other points on entity relationship model?
Yes, ma'am.
Hmm.
Entity relationship model describes the structure of database with the help of diagram.
What are all the components will be there in a diagram?
Entity, primary key, composite key, relationship, one to many, many to one.
Roshan, what is relational database model?
Relational database is something when we store data in form of tables and they are interrelated and we use query to fetch data. That is a relational database.
Okay. So both the points are valid. I'm accepting it. So relational model. This comes under the category record-based model where I'm gonna to store the record in the form of relation. Relation is also called as, a technical term is relation. When it comes to real world, relation is also called as
Connectors.
tables. Combination of rows and columns. Each and every row forms our record data. Column forms our attribute. Shivani, you there?
Yes, ma'am.
What is primary key?
What is ma'am? Primary key is the key column and that contain the unique identifier each row and table. Means it shows the primary key. Means we can take the example of student ID, employee ID. And that is.
So primary key is an attribute, one of the attribute column of a table. So keep this in mind. In relational database management system, a table should consist of one primary key mandatory. A table will not be there without primary key. And what is an eligibility to become a primary key?
Must be unique and
Unique and null,
Should
not
not
null.
be repeated. Value should not be repeated and it should not hold null value, empty value. And one more representation of primary key is by using primary key, I can reference any other non-key attributes. So by using primary key, let's assume there were 10 columns. So by using this primary key column, I can able to fetch remaining 9 columns. If it is able to retrieve non-key attributes in a table, then it can be eligible to become a primary key. Siddharth, what is candidate key?
Key
Sodit, you are on mute.
Yes, ma'am.
What is candidate key?
Ma'am,
Very good. Abdul, a single line with some 4 terms, that's all. Definition of candidate key, over. Abdul, question to you. Just question to you. Abhilash, you want to give a try? Abhilash.
The values cannot be null in candidate key.
That comes under the category not null. My question is, what is candidate key? Deepesh, give a try.
Columns in a table, I think so.
Columns in a table?
Which are eligible to become a primary key.
So whichever the column in the table is eligible to become a primary key. What is an eligibility for primary key?
Not null.
Not null and no duplicates.
Yes, unique.
So whichever the column, let's assume there were 10 columns in a table. Out of that, 4 columns are eligible to become a primary key. That is, all the 4 columns is not accepting duplicate and not holding null. So those 4 columns are eligibility to become a primary key. Those are all called as candidate. Siddharth, is that clear?
Yes,
Columns which are eligible to become a primary key is called as candidate keys. It is relate with the election candidates. Out of that, one will be chosen as primary. The remaining all are called as alternate key. Alternate key.
yeah, but I remember the
No worries. Rusikesh, what is composite key?
Composite key is basically 2 or more columns we use to represent a record of table.
So one column is not sufficient to retrieve other attributes in a table. In such situation, I am using 2 or more column as a primary key. So if 2 or more columns is referred as primary key in a table, all 2, 3 combined called as composite key. See, every day you are not a student. If you sit for half an hour, assume like half an hour or 45 minutes or maximum 1 hour, every day you reserve 1 hour just to read the theory topic of whatever we discussed on the session. Will it make sense? Half an hour time. If you spend half an hour yesterday evening, and if you have recollected all the terms, and yesterday we have not end up with any complex print, only those 2 diagrams, you got enough time in the evening. I've told enough things to this wave. Think. I'm asking a simple question. What is database? What is data? Primary key? If you have not answered any of this fundamental question, it's very difficult to clear in an interview. So being a panel of an interview member, I know. So if it is a difficult question, at least you have touched that point, we will accept. But for fundamental question, if you have failed to answer, so definitely people will not clear. You got my point. Let's assume I'm asking you a complex the difference between statement and callable and prepared statement. Some advanced, some difficult question, even though it is also come under fundamental of Java, but it's accepted. But if I ask you what is RDBMS, what is primary key, what is foreign key, if we have not received answer for those fundamental, we will think a lot to select the candidate. Same mindset will be there for the interview person in an other organization too. So be clear with the fundamental term, which are all compromise will not be there. If I ask you any complex topic in Angular, and if you have not answered, I may consider you because you have answered all my fundamental question. But if you have failed to give the proper explanation of fundamental, the impression will be totally different. I hope you got my point. Whatever I have introduced yesterday, all comes under fundamentals. The words should come. Don't think that you have hidden from me. Your chance is not there. You got no. Don't have that student mindset. All of you individually, you're gonna to appear in an interview along with your interviewer. So prepare it. So this is one experience I wanted to give. So let's continue with today's session. You can turn off your video.
Ma'am, in one table, how many primary keys we can assign?
Only one. So 90% we will have a table with one primary key. In least case, we will use composite key kind of a thing, if it is required. So yesterday, as I said, completely theory, introduction to your DBMS, RDBMS and all the RDBMS terms. So whatever we discussed in theory yesterday, same thing we are going to implement practically by using SQL queries. So in this session, we will be discussing about how to create a DBO, database object, to manage data in RDBMS. It's time to think and tell. And nothing is imaginary. Not only this topic, from the day one, I want all of you to relate the topic with real world applications. Let's take Twitter. What do you think it happens when we post a tweet? So let's assume you are posting a tweet. You're posting anything on the social media. So what will happen? If something is posted by anyone, what will happen?
It will come out and it will be among the people who follows me.
Replace.
And paid.
So think in database developer point of view. When I post anything, post a tweet, post anything on a social media, it gets stored.
It will
be stored in
Or
my
it get technically it got inserted, and wherever it is required, wherever, as you said, no, your friends, your followers, everywhere it will displayed. So your post will be stored, and wherever it is required, it will retrieve and it will be displayed. How many tweets are posted by news channel in a day?
N number.
N number.
Many, yeah. So many tweets on every day, every hour, every minute and second. Can we edit the tweets already posted?
Yes. Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
possible. So we have an option called as editable, or technically we call it as update. So whenever I can call everything as the data. So data will be stored, data will be displayed, data can be edited, and also one more feature. Can I delete my tweet?
Yes, ma'am.
Can I delete other tweets?
No, ma'am.
No.
No.
Latest tweets appear first. Where are these operations are done? Apart from that, so many operations are performing with my data. So there should be a place where I need to store, retrieve whenever I'm doing an edit. In the same place, data will get updated. And if it is deleted, wherever the place I stored, it gets deleted. Let it be. Think in DBA point of view or database developer point of view. Nothing is imaginary. Same thing for Instagram status update. Have you ever shared a story on an Instagram?
Yes, ma'am.
Status in WhatsApp, story in Instagram, Facebook story. What happens to the story after 24 hours?
Removed.
Automatically removed.
Automatically
Deleted.
deleted.
So whatever the pictures, videos you have added in the story will be disappeared from your profile after 24 hours. So the application has been designed in the way it will disappear after 24 hours. Let it be. So data will be inserted and data will be deleted. Some operation with data. From where does your mobile banking application get the information that is displayed on your screen? So every time when you open your mobile banking, so all your transaction balance, about your account information, everything will be there. Have you ever think in developer point of view, like from where the data is retrieving, where it actually stores and where it is retrieving? Where does your monthly statement displaying the transaction made from your account come from? Have you ever experienced this with mobile banking, or you take your Google Pay? So are you finding your transaction happening with each user?
Yes, ma'am.
You got my point. You take your social media, your messages, you take your WhatsApp messages, social media post, you open your Google Pay. Let's assume in last 10 days, whatever the transaction you made with your friend or family members, are they
Yes, ma'am.
in front of you? Yes, it is retrieving and it is there in front of you. So whether it is storing in your machine, in your local mobile.
Yes, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am. No.
So let's assume in this machine, I'm opening a browser and opening my net banking. So do you think the data is stored in my machine?
No, ma'am. It should be in the bank's database.
All our machines comes under the category client machine. All our machines via internet protocol. It is connected with server. So we have lots of server. So we have web server for web application. We have DB server, database server. We have file server. We have chat server. We have mail server. So many servers are there. So servers are nothing but an application. So if I take a machine, the configuration might differ. So if I installed a software, a machine is going to act like a web server. If I installed IIS, Microsoft IIS, or Apache server, so depend upon my application, the machine will get converted into server. So in next module, we will be discussing about web server. Today's session, we are going to discuss about database server. Even though your machine is client machine, yesterday you all have installed your MySQL. So since you have installed MySQL on your machine is going to act like client machine, as well as your machine is going to act like a DB server machine. You got my point?
Yes.
So your MySQL database is a service. It should be running in your machine. If you stop that service, you will not get that. So it is a service, database service, which should be running in your machine. In order to work on this service, we are using tools and your terminals. So this session is about this completely dealing with DB server. One of the server we are going to use is MySQL server. Apart from that, lot more RDBMS servers are there. So yeah, coming to the point, whenever we are using mobile applications or web applications, the data will be stored in database server and the data is retrieving your Facebook post, your Twitter, your social media, your mails, your banking, everything will be retrieved from database server, which is located in a remote server machine. And again, the operation. So when you take your client machine, so internet, network plays a vital role. So what I'm gonna to do, whenever if I store the data, I need to perform insertion operation. I need to perform delete operation, or I want to perform edit operation, update. So R data will be fetched from server and it will be displayed on my client. These are the operations we are doing between client and server, and this is what we are doing on everyday basis. So in Java term, we discussed about files, long back files, reading and writing. So read is called as input, write is called as technically output. But here, these are the technical terms. You think about any application. So if you take bank transaction, you whatever the mobile bank, whatever the what is that bank you have your account. So let's assume you have an account in SBI, you have an account in ICICI. So all my data will be stored in server machine. Uniquely, if I want to speak, it is database server machine. I have all my data. So which one is mandatory to handle? Internet.
Internet.
www is responsible for data here and there. So tell me, so let's assume if you have an account in SBI, can you able to view your SBI net banking in your desktop? The bank statements can be viewed on your desktop, on your laptop, on your mobile phone. All the banks provides your mobile application. It is possible. If you open a net banking in your mobile, in your machine, if you have any mobile banking application, or you take your Google Pay or any of this pay, if you view your account summary, account balance, you are retrieving the data of your account holding either SBI or whichever the bank. So irrespective of any device, the information is coming from where? Information is coming from my bank server. So what is this bank server? The bank server contains the database which is holding all the information about all the customer of the bank. Can you relate? All the systems are backed by a database and all the informations are stored and all the informations are provided via DB server. I'll repeat again. I can able to view my bank transaction, my balance, my last few transaction, even a last year transaction, my information about my payee, all information about a bank. It can be in any device. Only thing is you should have internet. If I have internet, I can view everything on my phone, laptop, desktop. Keep this point in mind. All the informations are coming from server, bank server. And what the bank server is having, any magic is there? No, bank server consists of database. In the database, in the form of table, many tables, you have all the information. Your account ID, your account name, balance, transactions is connected with another table. So bank server contains a database which holds the information about it. Not only me, all the customers of a bank. So all the information will be stored. So for sure, a database comes under the category network service. Without network, without internet, I cannot able to access any server. So that has been designed and developed in such the way I can able to store the information. I can able to retrieve the information. Apart from that, I can do whatever the operation, delete operation. Think nothing other than that. I can able to secure. If you take your Facebook or any other, by default, banking is secured. Additionally, we have some secured mechanism. You can lock your profile. Private account can be made it as private in your social media. So many other transactions can also be performed. Is that clear? Shall I continue with?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Why we are going? Because it's applicable everywhere. You think about NIT portal. So what is happening on let's assume 2 months back, you have provided your data and you have submitted. These data will be stored, and for your name and mobile number, email ID, the respective course has been matched. We have so many courses. We have digital marketing, data analytics. So for your email ID, the course has been mapped. So every day, whenever if you are doing sign in, the information will be retrieved. Your information will be retrieved from database, NIT server, and with respective to your mail ID, the data has been pulled and it is retrieved. Think about it. Every day, everywhere, whatever the application we are handling, it is connected with database. Think technically. We are storing, we are retrieving, we are doing some operation. So let us do the same. So create a database object to manage data in RDBMS. In this session, we will be discussing about structured query language, SQL, exploring MySQL environment. We have so many RDBMS package, but we are going to use MySQL. If you feel like you want to upgrade it in Oracle, you want to upgrade it in what else? You want to upgrade in SQL Server, go ahead. I'm not stopping you. If you want to upgrade it in DB2. So it's all the softwares will use SQL language. By using SQL language, you can handle any of the software. Only thing is, you know what is this software and how to install and how to access. That's all. I'm not stopping you. Ensure that you are thorough with MySQL first, then in the weekend you proceed with whatever the interest you have. All the softwares will use SQL query on it. So nothing is fixed. Any front end can be connected with any backend. If you take Java, Java can be connected with SQL Server. Java can be connected with Oracle, MySQL, DB2, SQLite. Only thing is, being a Java programmer, you know the connectivity part, and being a backend developer, you know how to handle the software. So, but as per NIT, we need to explore the software MySQL. So ensure that you are thorough with this topic first, then you can go to any other software. So we have various language categories under SQL: DDL, DML, DQL, DCL. We will explore, and we will explore about constructs, index, and DDL and DML. So all the softwares. So front end, we will use programming language. Back end, all these are backend softwares which will use a language called as SQL language, stands for structured query language. It is used in programming and designed for managing data held in RDBMS. In RDBMS, if I want to control my data with respective to any operation, I need a language called as SQL. It is the first commercial by E.F. Potts relational model. He is an author. And it is used to perform various types of data operation. It's a language which is designed for managing data in RDBMS package. So these are the categories of SQL commands. So we have, and please register in your mind. That's all. Story over with SQL language. We have DDL, data definition language. Definition of your database table and its structure. Data definition language. Under that we have create query, alter query, and drop query. Next is data manipulation language. Manipulating, inserting, update and delete query. Data control language. See, transaction control language. TCL stands for transaction control language. We have commit, rollback and save points. Data control language, we have granting and revoking the permission. The last one is DQL, data query language. Under that we have select query. So take a snap of this. If you know all the query syntax, purpose, rules, then that's all. That's all about SQL.
Ma'am, what is save point? Data control.
I will come one by one. Okay. How can I say save point right away without DDL? And it comes under the category transaction. Whenever I'm doing a transaction, some transaction, if I want to save, I can go ahead with the term save point. So data definition language, which is used to defining the structure of my database, structure of my table. So whatever the structure I want to define for my database and table, I will go with DDL. We have creating. Once if I create, if there is any changes to be done, I need to use alter. Deleting happens with the help of drop. So all DDL will happen automatically stored in my database. Permanently, whatever I'm making the changes, it will be stored. Followed with DML, followed with transaction control, data query. Take a snap. You should know the purpose of each query and the syntax of each query and its constraint, syntax, rules. That's all. If you know, then you will be thorough with this SQL.
DML stand for?
DML stands for data manipulation language. Transaction control language, data control language, data query language. We will complete DDL first, then we'll go to DML. Slowly we'll go to remaining. TDL stands for data definition language. Structure of my database table can be created, can be altered, can be deleted using DDL queries. Under that, we have first query as create. So create is used to create database. Very, very important. So you will be creating first database, and under that you have many tables. I have created a database or I created a table. If I want to make any changes, I cannot create again. It will be like a duplicate. So for any alteration, of database and table can be done with the help of alter query. So the third one is drop. So drop is used to delete or drop table. So all above 3 will be auto commit, which is permanently so whenever if I'm doing any of the query, all will be auto committed or commit in the sense permanently reflected in my database. I don't want to go for explicitly committing. Whenever I'm doing alter or drop or create, automatically everything will be permanently stored in my database. Listen carefully. I'll complete DDL, then we will go to DML. We have a lot to discuss in DDL and DML itself.
Ma'am, what DDL stands for?
Data definition language. So we are going to use MySQL software. It's a freeware. MySQL is an open source freeware, open source RDBMS. It is one of the most popular open source. Even though it is an open source, Oracle is a vendor. So developed, distributed and supported by Oracle. As I said, all falls under the category backend application. So once if I install MySQL on my machine is gonna to act like a server machine. So real world in server only it will install and it will be run and all the client machine will be used. So since everyone are here and there, so we are making our own machine as a server machine so that you can practice in your machine itself. And it is easy to use. Yes, of course, it is easy. As I said, we'll go one by one. The first is data definition language. So the very first step is create a database. Create command is used to create database in RDBMS. The first step, today you will be creating a database. Guys, listen. I'll complete hardly in an hour and I'll give you remaining time to get practice. So listen first and then you can practice. So database is one single thing. So today if you create a database for the next whole course, you can use the same database. And ensure that database, if you are creating for a project, it should be logically related data. So under one database, I can have any number of tables. So if you create a project, for every project, there will be one database. So syntax is create database, database name. To avoid an exception, you can use if not exist. The word if not exist, it is used to avoid an error. If you have school, that's fine. If you don't have school database, it will create. If not exist is optional. If you put it is already there, that's fine. If it is all not there, it will create. If you not put if not exist, if school is already there, it will throw an error. But create database, database name, it's fine. If not exist is optional. Yeah. So MySQL will be running in your machine. So in order to confirm only, so you can go to your services, various services in your machine and check your MySQL should be in running status. So this is a server instance. So in order to work with the server instance, so either you can use terminal. So you can use MySQL command prompt. You will be typing each and every command and you will be working. So I know we are very much comfortable with GUI rather than command. If you are fine, you can continue with command itself. So one of the GUI tool to work with your MySQL is MySQL Workbench. This is just a tool. How in order to work with Java, we are using Eclipse IntelliJ. Likewise for MySQL front-end working, in order to communicate with my MySQL, either I can use command prompt terminal or I can use this GUI tool. So it's a server tool. So this is my, in this machine, I have my server. So it is mentioning as local instance, and it's in my same machine. So I can use local host, or I can use even my IP address. :3306 is a port number of MySQL. Every server application will have a unique port number. So explore on the term port number, if the term is new to you. Explore on the term database server. What is server? What is database server? And explore on port number. Have you ever come across with any port number?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me, what are all the port numbers you came across?
8080.
Very good. What is this 8080 port number?
8080 is, I think, the default, like, for web servers.
Web servers, web application access. Yes.
We use
8080
at the end of-
is used for default web server in your machine. So explore on
Localhost.
port numbers. So this 8080 is for web server, but the topic which we are discussing is for database server 3306. For MySQL port number. Likewise, explore on port number. Yeah. In my machine, so it is referring with localhost. Instead of localhost, I can use IP address or my machine name. And it's a server related application. So password is mandatory. So my machine, I gave password as password only. So this is just a GUI environment where I can type my query and I can execute my query. So query is just typing. The query gets executed. The action will be triggered on my MySQL. So open your MySQL workbench. It is just a GUI tool. So you will be working with MySQL only with the help of query. So go to File, New Query tab. So step 1, you will be creating a database. It's a case sensitive. You can use uppercase or lowercase. So I'm creating a database with your batch name. So guys, it is just a kind of a notepad. Nothing gets triggered when I'm typing a query. It's very, very important. I need to type the query. I need to select the query and I want to click execute option. So whenever if I select and execute this one, whenever if you are giving semicolon, you want to execute till the previous semicolon to this semicolon, you can use this, the second icon. And it's just a query environment. Whenever you type a query, you need to execute the query. Then only it will be reflected on your MySQL server instance on your machine. So today I'm creating Wave 26 database. Throughout the next 1 week, I'm going to use the same database. So create, execute it. It's very important. Whenever if you are executing, you will be getting a message, an action output. So this is very important. It should be green and it should states that the query has been executed successfully. No error, nothing. So I have executed. Again, if I try to execute, it is throwing an error because already a database exists. Can you read the message? Again, I have executed the same statement. Cannot create a database 26. Database exists. And these are the database screen. Whenever if you are making any changes, query, there is a refresh button. So click so that the updation will be reflected. Earlier, I have only Wave 40. Now Wave 26 database has been created. That's all. No table, nothing. It's very important after creating a database every day before starting any of the query, you need to execute the command, use command. Either you can select or you can click this statement under the keyboard cursor. So after every semicolon is also optional. So in order to differentiate the query and in order to have an automatic keyboard cursor execution, I'm keeping a semicolon. Have this practice. This time I have not selected. I just clicked this fourth icon, which will execute till my keyboard cursor. Tomorrow when I'm starting the session, I'll be typing this query first and then execute. So step 1, you will be creating a database. Step 2, you will be using the database. Step 3, you will be creating your tables. Listen carefully, don't do parallelly. So there were a lot of constraints, rules. You can do it, but you need to achieve your sprint. So listen, you can listen first. The next step is creating a table. Create table, it is case insensitive and that syntax is must. Assume like create table, table name. This syntax is very important. You should use open parenthesis followed with table will have various attributes. Entity will become a table, attributes will become a column. So let's assume product ID and I'm having a first column as product ID and I'm having second column as product name holding 20 characters. Product price. So don't think line number 3 is unique alone. No. So line number 3 to 8 together. So my query, create query starts here and it ends here. So always when you are creating a table, I know it is not a proper table creation. I just wanted to show you before creating a proper table, why we want to add with a constraint. So listen, later I'll give you enough time, you can practice. So always table will be created with the syntax. All these blue color were keywords you can identify. Create table, table name, open, close, square parenthesis, column name followed with the data type. We have various data types in SQL, int, float, double, char, and also we have varchar. Let's assume I have description. I want combination of alphabets, numbers, description, product description. I want in description, I want to specify everything about the product. So I cannot use char alone. I want special characters, numbers, everything. I can use varchar and size is important. And we have date, date time. We have text type. Explore data type is mandatory and syntax is mandatory, comma. Integer will take a default range. Char will take only one character. So I want to specify the size. I can give 20 characters. Here 30 variable characters. And either you have to select all the, how many lines, some 7 lines and you need to execute. Or you keep your mouse cursor at your semicolon and just execute this. So that all my 7 lines will be executed from this semicolon to this semicolon. So I can able to insert the value in a table by using the query insert into listen, don't do anything. Insert into table name. Those blue color word highlighted things are keywords, which is mandatory words. I should use insert into table name values. So I can use product ID. Let's assume product ID is 501. And if it can be one character or it can be a collection of character, you will use only single quotes. So laptop, Dell laptop precision 3550, and the price is let's assume 1,50,000. So insert into table name values. I can specify all the values, no double quotes, only single quotes, because we are representing as char and varchar. Execute it. Let me put 502, insert HP. So let me execute the last two insert query. Listen, this is not the way of table creation. I'll tell you why. So in a table, I want to insert only, I have inserted Dell, Acer, HP. Already 3 data has been executed. I want to insert only laptop name. So when I try to execute the query, it will throw the error. Guys, listen, whenever if you are using insert query, it's mandatory that you need to pass all the values to your columns. So see the message. Column count does not match with the count at row 1. So if I have a table with 4 columns, when I'm inserting, I want to pass all the 4 columns. No, I don't want 4 columns. I want only 1 or 2 columns to be inserted. Then along with your table name, I want to pass the column name. So now it has been success, because when I want to insert one column value alone, that column name I want to specify here. Don't follow this, I know. I just wanted to show you what is the problem when you are doing this. So roughly I have inserted 5 values. I've created a table. I have inserted 5 values. In order to view the data in a table, we will be using a constant query called as select star from table name. Star in the sense all columns. So this is an output. This is a table output. Do you find any discrepancy with the data? What are all the problems with this data table?
Null. Null, ma'am. Repetition.
And so let me insert value, let's say minus. I want you to find the problems with the table. One point is correct. Null. Where is null?
Repetition of p name.
Sorry?
Repetition of product name, and entry primary key is also null.
So guys, please listen carefully. There were so many problems with this data, discrepancy of my lot of factors in my data. So one thing is product ID is null. Not only product ID, even product description, product price is null. Lots of null value, which overrules the concept of first normal form. Every cell should consist of value, atomic in nature, and one value. There should not be 2 or 3 values. So there should not be null. Even null is there, and I cannot represent anything unique. If you noticed my product ID is duplicated. Can you see 502 is duplicated? What else? What is the problem? I am asking you to point out the mistakes. Finding the mistake is the easiest job in the world, you know.
Next value is negative.
So I am dealing with product table. I have products. Can any product can be negative?
No.
Logically, if the customer is buying the product, negative price, logically incorrect. There should not be negative price. And many more data is not correct. There is no integrity of the data.
You remove the second Lenovo line, but it shows again. Why?
No, I have inserted line number 14. I have executed twice.
Okay.
Okay. I have not copy pasted, but you know, 14th line I have executed twice. Even I'm executing another one time. So please don't follow this practice. Being a database developer, we want to ensure the integrity of data, correctness of data. Wherever you are, you need to follow the integrity. When you are in dealing with data, data correctness is important. So it is very, very important. You cannot create a table just like that. Whenever if you are creating a table, you should think about all the integrity things. So we have so many integrity. We have domain integrity, even referential integrity, table integrity. So that I will maintain the correctness of data. So this is not a proper way of table creation. Because of this table creation only, it is accepting all values. There is no problem with insert. There is a problem with creating table. So I have to give all the rules. Rules technically here called as constraints. Shall we create a table with constraints with all the rules?
Yes.
No.
Yeah. So please come along with me. So let it be. I'm going to modify the same table. So I'm going to create a table. Create table. So this time I'm going to give the name as product 1. Every time you refresh so that you can see the changes. In wave 26, I have product table. Now I'm going to create product 1. Give a meaningful table name. So my first column will be product ID, and it should be integer, and it's mandatory. I want to give one column as a primary key. So do I want to specify not null unique here? It's not required. If I give the word primary key, by default, primary key will come with 2 rules. What are all the rules of primary key?
Not null.
Not
be null and
Or unique, must be unique.
Yeah, one is not null, the other one is unique. It will take unique feature. Okay. So let's assume product name. So product name of data type char 20. I am adding a constraint not null. What do you mean by the term not null is? It should not allow any null value. So always when you are inserting, it should allow only values. I cannot leave product name as blank. And then product description. Not only name, everything for every column, you need to mandatory add the constraint called as not null. So assume like description should be unique. I don't want to have one product description to be repeated in other product description. So I can add one more constraint called as unique constraint. Shall I? And the last one is price. What is the condition to become what is the condition we want to add it for price?
No negative.
Not negative.
No
It should
negative
not
value.
be negative.
Not negative.
So we have so many constraints. One is primary key constraint, not null constraint, unique constraint, and the next constraint is check constraint. I'm not sure with the syntax. It's been a long time. I'll give a try, then I'll confirm the syntax because as I told you, it's been a long time. So check price greater than 0. And of course, I don't want to leave price as not null. I am adding 2 constraints for my price. Price data type, it should not be null, and I want to check every time price should be greater than 0. That means it should not take 0, it should not take negative value. Am I making it sense? Okay, I'll execute it and I'll confirm the syntax. Yes, it is executing. And we have a lot more are there. Still, I haven't introduced foreign key. After some time, I'll introduce. Is that clear? Any query you want to add? Any questions? I am adding 2 constraints for my price. I can have duplicate price. One product and another product can have duplicate price. That is why I have not added unique. It should be integer holding data type. It should not allow null. And always I'm checking. Listen. Insert into product 1 values. I'm inserting product name. Wait. So I am inserting only product ID and product name. So I am trying to insert only product ID and product name of my product 1 table. I'm executing the query and see what error message I'm getting. Can you read the error message?
Field description does not have a default value.
Not only description, I don't specify any default value for description. That means description value is mandatory as well as price value is mandatory. Until otherwise, if I provide description and price, my query will not be triggered. So if I execute the same query, now it will throw an error as price. We have not specified any default value. We have one more constraint, default constraint, that I'll introduce after some time. So this will be an error. So always when I am inserting product 1, so I want to insert all the values. So let's assume if I insert any product. So then it will accept. Oh my God, what did I miss?
Line number 35.
This is a problem.
Ma'am, 2 hyphens or 2
checking
hashes, 2 hashes or commenting.
1 second.
2 hyphens. Yeah.
Or
Yes,
a hash, I think double hyphen only.
Double hyphen and double hash both will work.
No.
You have to give space, I think.
No, it is not. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
So in SQL environment, in order to add command, So go for double hyphen. I think we have some more options also. Try for hash. Find what are all the commands. So I just want here to add a command like it's an error statement. So now you execute. It got inserted. So not only one record, if you try to insert any record, ensure that whatever the constraints we have added, with that constraints data will be inserted. So as of now, I have inserted one record. Guys, listen. So let me try to insert the same record. I am trying to insert the same record. Can you see the error message?
Duplicate.
Yes, ma'am.
Duplicate entry for 101 primary key. So let's assume I mentioned 102, but here I am mentioning a negative value. So read the error message if you specify any negative value.
Check 1 is violated.
Yeah, product 1, we have one check constraint. Automatically it is checking as check 1. So first check constraint, I have only one. So that one is violated. So if I try to insert null for my description, it is throwing column product description cannot be null. I cannot insert null value. So by the way, I can able to have a correctness of data. All right. Shall I continue? So far, is that clear? So don't have this product 1 practice. Always when you are creating a table, appropriate constraint will be added. We have default constraint and we have foreign key constraint. 2 more constraints are there. We'll discuss with the next example. One table should have one primary key. Apart from that, null constraint, unique constraint, check constraint. So I have created a table. Guys, shall I continue? You there? Let us complete
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So I listen carefully. What is the purpose of DDL? We know, we should know. I have created a table. I want to make some changes in my table. Like I want to add one more column. So I want to add one more column stock. Or I want to delete this description. Or I want to make, I think like description is not enough with the size. I want to increase the size of description from 30 to some 100. Can I again modify here? Can I again modify with create statement?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Logically, it won't work. If I give 100 here, when again if I execute, my machine will throw an error stating that product is also already exists. Once if I created, I cannot make any changes with create. It tends to creating a new. Likewise, all the time insert will be inserting a new row record. These are my columns, these are my rows. So when I created a table, if I want to make any changes, I need to use a query called as alter query. Is that clear? By using alter, I can add a column, I can delete a column, I can modify the size of column, existing column. Shall I alter query? Listen carefully. Alter table name. See, always your DDL will comes with the keyword table. Create table, alter table, drop table, alter table. What else? Drop table. I'm not going to execute drop table. If I give drop table, table will be deleted permanently. So alter table. Let's assume I want to add something called a stock. Yeah. Add stock. Will it be meaningful? Alter table product 1. Drop column stock. Alter table name. I think I need to use, I'm not sure with this keyword. I'll check. Yeah, modify. Modify column product description varchar 100. I'll confirm everything. So guys, listen. Alter table. All the DDL will comes with the keyword table. Let me execute it. We have added. So when I execute select star from product, already I have product ID, product name, description, price. Can you see the 5th column has been added with stock? So I can execute the next query to remove the stock. So stock will be removed. Already I have a product description column with 30 size. If I want to modify, so in few SQL, I think we need to use alter keyword. In MySQL, it is modify only. And in order to drop, we have drop table name. I'm not going to execute because if I drop it, everything will be dropped. So I have a table product 1 with 4 columns. Apart from that, constraints can also be added with alter. We will come one by one.
Ma'am, in DDL for deleting one another option, not truncate.
It's for deleting entire table.
No, yeah. They have not mentioned in a slide, but we have one more query. In Oracle, we will have this truncate query. Listen carefully. Listen. So if I use drop, entire table will be deleted. If I use truncate, table will not be deleted. All the records will be deleted.
Yeah.
So let's assume I have 101, 102, 103, some 5 records. So if I use drop, entire table will be deleted from database and it's a permanent delete. But drop will, truncate will delete all the 5 records. Is that okay? They have not mentioned in this slide, but we will use.
Ma'am, rename query is also not mentioned.
Yeah, you give a try.
Now, can we add columns in between the existing columns?
So it is not by in between or next. It is just a columns available. In any order I can call.
Okay.
So let's assume I want a product name first, product price first, then product ID. It's possible. Don't think like order. Nothing can do with the order. Based on the retrieval I want to make, I can use.
Okay.
How to change the particular? That is, you're talking about this 1,20,000 Dell. Those are all DML queries. DML, guys, listen. So only by using DDL, as I told, no structure of my table. I have a table with 4 columns. I can add 5th or 6th column. By using that, it is DDL. If I want to make any changes with the data record, that I can do it with DML, manipulation, which is inserting, updating, and delete. So every time when you give insert, insert will insert a new record row. In an existing row, if I want to make changes, if I give insert every time, new record will be inserted. So every time when I give every time whenever I am executing insert query, new record will be added. So if I want to make any changes, let's say I want to increase the price. So those are all your DML. So how we can do? With the help of update. Update table name. See, again I'm repeating, only in your DDL, you will add create table, alter table, drop table. The word table will come along with DDL. In DML, it will not come. Insert into product 1, that's all. No word table will come here. Likewise, update table name, directly table name, no keyword table. It's very important. Here we have a unique word called as set. Set price is equal to, let's assume 1,35,000. I want to set price. So what will happen if I execute this query? If I execute this, what will happen? Any random guesses?
All price will become.
All the price will be updated as 1,35,000. It's not recommendable. Always in update and delete, we need to use where class, where I want to update. So where you always use primary key. So in my product 102, I want to update. So in my 102 product, I want to update 1,35,000. So can I delete Dell laptop 3551? Can I delete HP Pavilion? Can I delete 1,20,000? Can I delete 1,20,000 alone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
No, guys, I cannot delete the particular cell. I can able to update the particular cell value. How? Every time when you are giving insert, a new value will be inserted. Likewise, when I give delete, every record row will be delete. I cannot delete particular cell value. I can only update the value. Is that clear? So I can, how I am inserting new row. Likewise, I can delete entire row. So delete, we need to use from keyword. These keywords are very important. Insert into, values. These are all mandatory words. And in delete, from is mandatory. Update, set is mandatory. Set what I want to set for what? Where class. So again, the same thing is applicable. If I give delete from product 1, everything will be deleted. It's mandatory. You need to add where class for your delete. And this where class always comes with a primary key. When I give 50-second line, triggers the entire row record will be deleted. If I want to delete 1,20,000, it's not possible. I can able to update with some null values or zero values. That too, if you have not handled with not null. At any cost, you cannot have null values in your table. That's all. Null values are not recommendable. Okay, I'm giving you additional things. You try to rename this column name. So I have product ID, product name, PID. Instead of PID, I want to give a product ID, full form. You give a try. And my table name is product one. Is it possible to rename my table? So I'm giving you a few tasks. So task number one, rename a column in a table. Tell me, so instead of product ID to product ID, which query we need to use? Any random guesses? Guys,
Ma'am,
are you ready?
update. Update.
I'm repeatedly telling this. Certain things comes under DDL and certain things comes under DML.
Alter.
Something related to
Alter.
your data.
Alter.
HP, Dell, 1,20,000, 102, 103. Then you need to use DML. I am talking something related to structure of my table.
Alter.
Don't get confused ever. So I want to rename a table itself. Let's assume I have product one. So I want to make it as for example, electronics product table. What query you will use?
Update.
Again, why the word update is coming? Am I talking about anything data? I'm not. I'm talking about structure only. Again, you need to use alter query. I'm leaving to you. So you can create one table with these constraints. Right. So I will add default constraint also. So let's assume I want to add a stock. So by default, whenever if I am adding any product in my company stock, so I want to give the number of stock available is 50. If the user has provided, it's fine. If the user has not provided, by default, I want to have the stock as 50. So that is possible with the help of default constraint. So default 50. What is the meaning of this line? Let me make it as product 2. So we have primary key constraint, not null constraint, unique constraint, check constraint, and the last constraint is default constraint. What is your understanding of this default? I'll show you.
And already the stock is 50.
I'll show you. This is product 2. What will happen? I'll execute the query, don't worry. So either I want to pass all 5 values. So either I want to pass all the 5 values because I have 5 columns. If I want to pass only 4 values, I need to specify the respective column name. I'm giving product ID, product name, product description. I have not provided price. Is there any problem with this product to HP? What will be the value of stock?
50.
50. That is a speciality of default constraint. Guys, listen. So if you have provided a stock, it will update with 75. If you have not provided with the stock, machine by default, it will add 50. I will show you the same. I'll copy paste the query. I have created product 2 table. Remaining all are same. Additionally, I have added stock with default constraint. I'll execute everything in a single go. It is possible. Table has been created and 3 records has been inserted. Product, product 1, product 2. The speciality is for Dell, it will take the stock as 75. What will happen to Lenovo and HP? I have not provided a stock for Lenovo and HP. If I have not provided a stock, by default values will be taken. What is the default constraints I have provided, which is 50. That's all about the constraint. Only one constraint left out is foreign key. Post break, I'll introduce that. But before that, I'll give you some half an hour time to practice. I'm leaving to you. You create what I can say. You can create employee or student. Only one table with all the constraints. Any query with this default constraint, if I specify, it will take the value. If I not specify, it will take 50. All right, listen, these are the tasks. And third task is, I want you to create employee table. Employee ID should be primary key. Employee name should be not null. Everything should be not null. Employee address should be not null. Department. So as per the company, there were only 4 departments. Let's assume sales, manager, HR, and IT. So when we are recruiting a person, we are inserting, they should fall under any of the department. Can I include something called as admin department? Can I insert a record with admin department? How you can achieve this? My department should be in sales, manager, HR, and IT. What constraint you need to use? What constraint you will use?
Update.
How come you can say the answer as update? I am talking about table creation and I'm talking about the constraint. What are all the constraints we discussed? Primary key, null. What is one more constraint? None of you opening your mouth stating that, ma'am, it falls under the category check constraint. Do it. So I want gender to be either male or female. I don't want any other XYZ word over here. And the salary should be between 10,000 to 50,000. And citizen, nationality. So nationality, I know by default my company will be employees of Indian citizen. So I want all the records to be not null. Out of that, 3 check constraint and 1 default constraint. Do it. So before that, ensure that you are practicing everything. Any query here? I want you to do these 2 tasks. Then you try the 3rd task. Before that, you need to practice. How many columns? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 columns. So out of that, 3 columns should have check constraint. Here values to be occurred and here it is range. And the last one should be, even though I have not inserted, machine should insert as Indian citizen. Is it possible to do?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
sharing my notes and I'm giving you, take a 10 minute